Jay here. We're out here with a 2021 Gas EX300, fully modified Get ECU. Takamoto did all of our mods for us. We're going to compare it to our 2019 vintage 300XC with a carburetor. Which one of these do you think will win? Hey, Jay here. We're back here with our comparison of the Gas versus this KTM. This is a 21 Gas EC300 that's a TPI bike stock versus our 19 KTM 300XC with a key and carburetor. So we're back here testing these things. We've got some good footage of Spencer off riding it out here in the high des where we are. We've got a beautiful day to test these things. We just finished up the Racer X test and it came out really well. Chris Kiefer really liked the bike. We did have to do a little bit of tuning. Chris is a pretty good rider. He could really feel the detonation in a couple little spots because we are running pump fuel in this one. He could feel that. What he did, Mike at Takamoto actually has the app right on your phone, which anybody can do, and he walks guys through how to tune on their Get ECU. So he just took away a little bit of ignition in that spot and then added a little bit of fuel and got rid of that feel. So he was able to clean that up right here, phone, app, easy deal, and a lot of guys are gonna be pretty savvy with that. So it was a pretty good test with the Racer X. The suspension's really good on this bike. I was really impressed, not surprised, I guess I should say, because Race Tech does a pretty good job for us on these. But I got cone valve on this bike, and I would say this thing right off the gate feels pretty dang good through all the whoops, all this stuff like that, and then some drop-offs. I was really impressed with how good this thing felt. So really good bike. So how does this thing compare? When you're riding these things back to back, they have a different feel to them. You know, this carbureted bike, we do have it so where it's kind of a smooth, easy to ride power band. The first time we hopped on the bike here with the Get ECU. Now, let me back up just a little bit and tell you that if this bike was stock, comparing to this bike, it wouldn't even be close. This bike's not even in the game. But with this Get ECU, it's brought it up there. So now the power right off the gate was a bit abrupt and kind of gnarly. So once we rode it, we're like, oh, this is pretty good. But not quite as good as this in being easy to ride. We backed out the power valve adjuster screw down here. Most guys will know that little square knob. You can use a flat blade screwdriver if you have to, or just there's a little KTM tool. Goes right in there. Enduro Engineering has them. We turned it out 2 turns. I think we might test with 1 as a compromise, but we're at 2 turns out, and that thing made a big difference in how it made it smoother and a little easier to ride. The rider that's going to end up with this bike mainly is going to want it a little smoother, easier to ride power. We don't want him that abrupt power. And maybe it was a faster guy. He might like this, especially Spencer's doing these little wheel plants, you know, things. And we noticed that when we backed it out, he lost a little bit of that ability to have that gnarly hit on bottom. So, but overall, this bike now with these mods is now, I would say, close to even with this bike as far as mods and how it feels motor-wise. The one thing I noticed, just like I like on fuel-injected 4-strokes, there was never a miss. Now this thing has a little bit of a lag to it, because with a carburetor, we're never jetted perfect for everywhere, right? So this thing is going to be a lot closer jetted or mapped in that case. So it had that really good just feel right there at your hand all the time. I thought it was really impressive in that aspect. So now this bike, I would say, is as good or better motor-wise. We're not comparing the exact same bikes because this is an XCW tranny, XC tranny, so it's not a direct comparison. But now I would say it's even. And so this one's about $2,200 to do the head mod and the Get ECU, all that setup from Takamoto. And this one is about $450, we feel like, with the carburetor from JD Jetting and a head mod from TMR that we have done. So you're about $450 versus $22 range in mods. So that gives you a little bit of a reference. Problem is you can't buy these bikes no more. So 19 was the last year. Now we are in 21 models. So 20, 21, you can only buy this style bike. Eventually in the future, these bikes will come with electronic power valve. That's my gut telling me that they're gonna get that electronic power valve with the TPI, and that's gonna help the things run a lot better stock. But if you have a TPI bike now, and you have the budget to do so, upgrading to this Get ECU system with Takamoto, I don't think you can go wrong. I think you'll like it. You can tune with it right on your phone, make changes. It's not 100% perfect for sure, but you can tune with it, and Mike at Takamoto will help you do that. So that's one thing he really provides to his customers, which I've seen firsthand. So that's pretty cool setup. We have, you know, 2 map switches on the Get. Number 1 being the most powerful, and then you can back it down to the little, for the tight, gnarly stuff, you can put it into a trail mode. We barely did it. I don't know that we would ever do it. We don't ever switch map switches on most things. We always just stay in the most powerful one. We get used to riding it that way and used to playing with it. So what do I call a draw here? But overall, I'd still lean towards this, and so does Spencer. But this bike is right there now. With those mods, you can get this TPI bike, I think, right there. I would still prefer if they just kept updating these and we had these with a key in, but this is where we're headed. There's no way around it. We're stuck with fuel injection on 2-strokes as well. So I think this future right here, if you have a TPI, you can't go wrong with that. So fun little shootout, winner, but second place right here. But it only had to be second place, but it is a good bike. And with these improvements, I think a lot of guys are gonna really enjoy it on their TPI bike. Hopefully that helps you out. We'll see you at the track or trail soon.
Yeah.